no control over any of that, at least when you're born. And so literally from that moment on, it really is kind of up to you, the people you put around you, the things and the decisions you make. And so also being able to have like this extraordinary life that I've led and getting to peek into other people's lives, a lot of other people's lives, celebrities' lives, my friends' lives, my family's lives, soldiers' lives, I all come to realize that what's important in life. And it's not flashy stuff. It's not whatever, like my oven's the same temperature as Bradley Cooper's oven. It's like, it's the people you put around you and the memories you make and the information you pass along. That's what matters. And so when you look deep, try to find happiness in what you have.
Americans are capable of achieving extraordinary things when they have the freedom and opportunity to do so. This is American Potential.
Hey everyone, welcome to the American Potential Podcast. I'm your host, David Fromm. Have you ever caught yourself wondering, what if? What if I'd taken that job? What if I'd made a different decision? What if that one moment had gone a little different? We all have those moments, and we really wonder how life might have turned out. Well, today's guests have one of those moments because while serving in Iraq on patrol, an IED exploded. In an instant, everything changed, and even though that moment dramatically changed his life, it didn't change his attitude on life. I want to welcome to the podcast Bryan Anderson, who's an Army veteran and triple amputee. Bryan, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, David. I appreciate being here.
Yeah, well, I'm so excited to talk to you. I mean, I know you joined our American for Prosperity Ohio team at their celebration of America's 250th event, and we weren't able to be there, but I'm so glad that we get to catch up and talk about, your experiences and like just you're kind of an inspiring story, to be honest with you. So set the stage for me. You enlisted in 2001 in the military, and your ship out date was September 11th. It's kind of crazy. Maybe take us through that day and what you're thinking, as that day unfolded.
Well, yeah, sure. So in 2001, earlier in the year, me and my girlfriend, we were tossing around the idea of joining the military and whatnot, and always wanted to do something bigger than myself. I was a little guy, but I was a tough little guy, and I wanted to help other little guys, I guess. And if somebody was going to take the hits, I thought I could do it. I don't know. And then I was a gymnast, and so I was very fit and athletic, and I thought I could do it.
Yeah.
So we signed up in April of 2001, and we were on the delayed entry program. So you had a few months to prepare yourself for about what you were about to do. And then September 11th rolled around, and so September 10th, we all kind of partied that night. Like, it's my last night as a civilian. I get to, whatever. And we were all sleeping at my aunt's house in the basement. And that morning, I was supposed to go into MEPS station at like noon or something like that. And I wake up to my aunt running down the stairs of the basement screaming, oh my God, Bryan, turn on the TV, turn on the TV. And I'm like, what? And I turn on the TV just in time to see the second plane hit.
Wow.
Live. And then immediately, well, not exactly just in time, like a couple minutes before the second plane hit, because prior to that, I was working with American Airlines.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had airport experience, and I've been in that industry for 3 years now, almost. And my mind was, how does a plane hit the tower? Like, whoa, that's a major mess up. Somebody at air traffic control messed up or whatever. And then I saw the second plane hit, and my brain immediately went, nope, we're being attacked. And I was just like, oh, like my heart sank into my chest. And then there's just so much uncertainty. And so I call up the recruiters and I'm like, hey man, what's going on? Like, do we need to be going in? What's happening? He's like, I don't know, man. We'll figure it out. Just come on in. whenever you can get here or whatever. And it was like, okay, okay, okay. And so we ended up getting there and we just sat huddled around the TVs all day watching what was going on. And then it was around 1 o'clock in the morning and they got us onto some buses and we drove 7 hours to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Wow.
And then we sat there for 2 weeks, not doing anything, waiting to see what happened. But it was a crazy, crazy day.
Yeah. What a way to start your military service. So you eventually are in Iraq. And what were you doing in Iraq?
Okay, so I ended up spending 2 years in Iraq,
Hmm.
2 separate deployments. And the first one was the invasion. And that was interesting. And we did a lot of kicking indoors and the top 55 people. If some people remember the top 55 deck of cards that came
Yeah.
out.
I remember the cards. Yeah, with all the
Yeah,
top leaders.
yeah. So I got to kick in some of them doors and take those people out. And then the second year, our mission was so different. It was strictly because I was a military police officer to train the Iraqi police force
Hmm.
and teach them how to police their own country. And so for like the first 3 months, I was a police academy instructor. And then after those 3 months, then they said, oh, we need you to start going out to the police stations. And it's basically just holding their hands, doing everything, a raid, making sure they have food and weapons and vehicles for patrols, like everything that just goes into running a police station, humane jail cells, food for prisoners, treat them with respect, like it was kind of like that. And so we had like 6 police stations in our responsibility in like a 8 to 10 mile radius, I would
Mhm.
say. Um, and so every day we were kind of just going out to each police station, checking on all of them, making sure everything is good. And on October 23rd, 2005, we headed out to the first police station and we just didn't even make it. My tires broke the beam of a laser beam and this EFP blew out sideways. I could not run it over. And I don't know why it bothers me when people say, did you run over an ID? I'm like, no, I did not run over a bomb. Sorry. um, Not that it would be a mistake or anything on me. Like it probably
Right.
would have been hidden,
Yeah.
but for some reason that just gets me like, no, I didn't run over a bomb. It was in the curb. It was hidden. They painted it, plastered it, made it look like one long curb,
Wow.
and it just blew out sideways. And it cut my legs and my hand off instantly. Like my legs were laying on the floorboard, my hand was in the passenger seat. It spun me sideways where I was laying in my seat. But it never knocked me out or anything. I never lost consciousness. And that's a whole story. Yeah. Come see me speak. I'll tell the whole story.
All right. That's good. We'll do that.
But it was interesting and I knew what was going on. Um, I never felt like I was going to die though.
Wow.
And then the first thing I said was, holy crap, do you ever think I'll get laid again? Okay. So those are bullet points. Now come see me.
You're a young man at the time. It's a legit question.
I was 24.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what a traumatic time. But I mean, it is pretty amazing that you were aware of the whole time, and it is pretty incredible that you lived through it. I mean, that's it's a lot to go through.
So a neat fact
Hmm.
is that because of the type of IED it was, um, probably what saved my life. So the type of IED, they canisters, plastic explosives, nails, ball bearings, whatever you want to throw in there, and they top it off with copper plate. And they'll put like 6 canisters, so 3 on bottom, 3 on top, all angled at different directions, things like that. But when it explodes, that copper plate, the explosion gets so hot, it liquefies immediately. And it's not piercing through our truck, it's melting through our truck, like the
Really?
armor. Yeah. So when it went through me, it cauterized everything as it went through me, so I didn't bleed out.
No way.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Well, I
Wow.
mean, to
Ironic.
the extent to where at least I didn't die,
Right.
it was good.
Right. Yeah, I would think a catastrophic loss of blood is probably Big killer there.
Yeah. And I ended up actually, throughout all of it, at the end of the day, I think I took 180 units of blood, and you only have 10 units of blood in your body.
Really? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
But that wasn't like right then and all in one day. It was over the 5 weeks or 4 weeks that I was technically inside the hospital.
Yeah.
I ended up throughout that whole time, it was 180 units of blood.
Wow. So you
Yeah.
ended up,
So thank you for everybody that donates blood. I really do appreciate that.
yeah, good plug. Um, so you end up, I imagine, going through a few different hospitals, but you end up doing recovery at Walter Reed. What was that like?
It was interesting and it was tough. Um, so the reasons that it's tough is because the biggest thing is the uncertainty, the fear, and the not
Mhm.
knowing what the future looks like, or even what you're going to be able to do or physically do, and what kind of quality of life looks like. Like all those things play a part. But for me, one of the hardest parts was seeing how many soldiers were coming in every day. Um, in 2005, it was really bad.
Yeah.
And that was depressing in itself. And to see soldiers that didn't have anybody, no family, no nothing,
Really?
that was even tougher. So, all of us soldiers, we all became brothers there. Like, we're here, we're going through this together. We became the family, and help each other through it. Um, but for me, for some reason, I was a little bit different, and I was able to accept things for what they are really quickly. And like, hey, these don't go back on.
Hmm.
Um, it sucks, but like you still got stuff to work with. I had a good enough attitude to take a day at a time, see where it went. And I told myself that when I left Walter Reed, that like, you're healed, you're done. Like, there's no more hospitals, there's no more whatever. You're living your life. Like, next play. Um, so I spent 13 months there in
Wow.
total, and then got sent home. But just because of my attitude and I don't know, whatever, Esquire magazine wanted to do a story on a soldier. And they called and said, hey, can we do a story on you? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I don't care. Why? Why not?
Yeah.
And they followed me around for like 2 days, and then they left. Oh, and they did a photo shoot too. Um, but I didn't hear anything for a couple months, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. And then like 2 weeks before, they're like, this is going to come out in January and whatever. And 2 weeks before it's going to come out, they called me and said, hey, this article really turned out pretty amazing. Um, and I was like, really? Oh, okay, whatever. He's like, yeah. So we're going to put you on the cover too, though. And I'm like, what? They're
Wow.
like, yeah, we're going to put you on the cover. And I'm like, okay. Well, it's your magazine. You do whatever you want, man. And in January 2007, I ended up coming out on the cover of Esquire magazine. And that was right at the same time as I was coming home from Walter Reed.
Uh-huh.
And then so it just opened a bunch of doors for me. And right when I got home, I just started going out and doing things. And so when I told myself, like, Walter Reed's done, you're healed, and you're moving on, that is exactly what happened.
So what kind
That's
of
all I got.
things did you start going out and doing?
Um, well, at first it was just discover what I can do.
Yeah.
And I jumped on a skateboard. I started doing that and snowboarding, and oh, I can still do okay. And then um the wheelchair company, Quantum Rehab and Pride Mobility, said, hey, we need a new spokesperson. Can you come on and help us out? Let's give it a shot. And the first year it was like they paid me $1,000. I did one event or two events, and they were like, wow, we kind of like you. You want to do a couple more? And I was like, yeah, sure. And did some more. And then I was like, hey, I like this. And then I moved to Pennsylvania so I can go and get more involved. And then I helped, like, kind of testing and designing chairs and getting more involved and helping them. And then I really kind of became somewhat of a name in the industry of
Yeah.
power wheelchairs and things like that. Um,
Well, I mean,
and all in the meantime, I was like acting and doing stunts and public speaking and
well, I mean,
just
you were a magazine cover boy, so I mean, it all makes sense, I guess. But
Well,
tell me about the
I
acting.
guess you could say that.
How'd the acting come about?
So in the article, Esquire, it said if I could help one person, this would make it kind of worth it. And yeah, and, I guess I'm the one who can handle it. Oh yeah, and I wanted to be a stuntman and an actor, and I think it'd be really cool to get blown up again and have my legs come flying off.
Oh my gosh, really?
And then, and then all of a sudden, this guy um calls me up. He's like, "Hey, you saw the article in Esquire? I'm a stunt coordinator, and we're doing a movie in Chicago right now. Um, would you like to come down and check it out and see if this might be something you want to get into, or you would be interested into getting into?" And I was like, "Oh, absolutely, heck yeah!" And so I came down, and guess what that movie was?
What?
It was The Dark Knight.
I was going to guess that because I knew it
So
was
the
filmed in
first movie
Chicago.
I ever worked on was The Dark Knight. I
Wow.
got to meet Heath Ledger and a couple of the other guys. I did not get to meet Christian Bale. But it was such an amazing, awesome experience. I was just like 100% absolutely I want to do stuff like this.
Wow.
And then it just kind of started from there. He called another stunt coordinator from New York. Um, and he put me in this movie called The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke and Marissa Tomei.
I've seen it. Absolutely. It's
And
a
I
great
pull
movie.
off my leg and I give it to Mickey Rourke so he could hit somebody with it. That was me.
I remember that scene. I'm totally going to watch that again.
So like we were all just standing in a circle, like, what do you think we could do? And it's like, I could like have them come in to like hit me and we roll off the back of my chair or whatever. And then the director, Darren Aronofsky's like, do those legs come off? Like, can you pop them off? I was like, yeah. Could we hit him with it? And I'm like, yeah, like hell yeah, let's do that. And it was
So,
fun. Like we just had fun with it. And it just seems to continue to open a lot of doors. And I really just kind of have been going on in life with as long as I continue to put good out, good will come back to me and it'll just allow me to keep being me and do what I do. And so far that's what's happening. And I'm very happy. I'm very grateful. I feel very fortunate and lucky.
well, I'll
And
tell you what, that comes through for
it-
sure. I once heard one of the measures in life is like, can you constructively deal with reality and whatever your reality is? And your reality is more difficult than the vast majority of people's, but my gosh, have you dealt with it constructively? That's an inspiration to anybody who's facing any challenge. Um, so, I know that you also met the actor Gary Sinise, who's been super involved in veterans causes. A lot of people might remember him as Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump. Can you share that story and maybe how you engaged with him and his foundation?
yes, so that's actually a long and fun and interesting journey and story. And uh, also another one of those incredible, amazing experiences I get to experience in life. It's so cool. So I was practicing walking around at Walter Reed, and this is in 2006.
Mm.
And they would have peer visitors, they called them. They would be celebrities or politicians that want to come and take pictures with wounded soldiers. And that's exactly what most wounded soldiers feel. It's like, oh yeah, here comes another guy who wants to take another picture. Cool, shake his hand, whatever. Um, and that day somebody walked in I didn't know, didn't care, whatever. And I was in the back of the room. And as I was walking around, coming up to the front of the room now I'm starting to walk through people and I'm, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. And I tripped over somebody and I fell forward and I put my hands out to like catch me or catch myself or hit the floor or whatever. And I hit somebody right into their chest and they stood strong and I pushed forward, held myself up and then look up and it's Gary Sinise. And I'm like, whoa, Gary Sinise. And he's just like, holy crap, the real Lieutenant Dan. And I'm just like, no, 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 no. You're always gonna be Lieutenant Dan, man. And he's just like, no, he's just started cracking up and then we sat down and talked for like 10 minutes. Just
Hmm.
like, so where you from? Like whatever. Oh, I'm from Chicago too. And oh, Highland Park. Oh wow, cool. Um, And you could just tell how genuine he was, like how he actually just really wanted to know, or was like there was feeling and I don't know how you can describe that or tell, but you can tell when somebody's being very genuine. And he was extremely genuine and whatever. So it was a great first meeting and had taken a picture and whatever. So then after that, because of coming out on the cover of Esquire and both being Chicago boys, we ended up at a lot of the same events together.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kept running into each other. Oh, hey, how you doing? Hey, what's up? Hey. And then he was like, well, hey, so I have this band. It's like the Lieutenant Dan band. And sometimes we travel around and do fundraisers to help build homes for soldiers and stuff. And this is before the foundation was created.
Hmm.
He was already doing stuff like this. Um, he's like, why don't you come travel around with us a little bit? I'm like, yeah, okay. And so, and through American Airlines and Gary Sinise and all that, like we would go and play concerts across the country. And it was a lot of fun. And I've been to a lot of Lieutenant Dan band concerts, but they're amazing. Like they're good. They're a great band, a great cover band. Um, and so then in the journey of doing that, he realized that he needed to create a foundation. Um, and then right before that, we started becoming more friends. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I need help. I need to build my buddy a house in Hawaii. And he's like, okay, I got your back. I'm like, well, I don't know what that means. Okay, whatever. I start trying to get this house donations, things like this to help build a house for my buddy. And he calls me up another day and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, what do you mean, what am I doing? I'm trying to build. He's like, yeah, but I told you I got your back. I'm like, yeah, but I don't know what that means. He's like, I got your back, dude. Okay, give me a couple days. And if not, we'll do it your way. And I'm like, okay. And he calls me back and he's like, yeah, we're doing it my way. I know this celebrity chef, Robert Irvine. He's got this show, Restaurant Impossible. We're going to do it as this thing for Restaurant Impossible. And then, like, 3 weeks later, we're flying down to Hawaii. We tore his house down and built a new house with Robert Irvine on his TV show. And just like,
That's
and
so
so
cool.
then that's when he decided I'm creating a foundation. And then he asked me to be an ambassador. And I was like, I would be honored. And we still continue to do amazing things and build homes. And I just saw him last Saturday we had our 15 years of service gala. Um, and then I was talking to him on the 4th of July. He's in Washington, D.C. doing the air show and all that. And he's sending me videos of the jets flying over doing the practices and all that. And all that crane with the American flag that was
Yeah.
hanging and that everybody's seeing on TV. It's right in front of him on his video. I'm just like, you couldn't have brought. No, I'm kidding. I had other things to do anyway, but it was like, that'd be really cool to be at. That would
Yeah.
be awesome.
Well, seems
So,
like you've had no shortage of super cool experiences. My gosh. Um, how did you said you were a gymnast? I'm sorry, I wanted to I made note of that 'cause a bunch of my kids are all gymnasts also, and it is kind of unique. How did you think that affected you? How you could deal with like the physical challenges after your injury?
well, so I would say it's not even physical. It Gymnastics literally helped in every aspect.
Hmm.
Discipline, knowing your body, what your body is capable of. Like you learn all those things in gymnastics when you're learning how to control your body in midair to do whatever you want it to do. And like after I got blown up, instead of looking at the world as an obstacle, I looked at it as an apparatus. And how can I
Mm.
use it to make my life easier instead of, oh, that sucks. It was like, no, oh, that's like a ramp. And like I can jump that. Okay. I just looked at the whole world very differently. And because of that gymnast mentality, it also helped me gain that mentality of, or I'm not going to be that guy that says, I don't have any legs. I can't go climb a tree. I'm that guy that says, how do you know until you try? Like, I don't know. So that's what I got.
That's awesome. I'm going to tell my kids about that, especially the ones who are still doing it and don't want to go to practice. Like, well, listen what this can do for you. So I guess, kind of to wrap up, I mean, the overwhelming thing, I mean, you've had so many amazing experiences. And yet I think most people listening are probably like, how do you have such a positive attitude when you've had to deal with such trauma? And yet, because so many people, it's far smaller things that kind of take people out, and put them on a bad path. And yet you've managed to just lead an amazing life. And it's probably only going to keep getting better. I mean, you're telling me about a house you're building and, realizing your dreams there, but what would you attribute that to?
I would attribute that to my mind, your brain. So your mind and your brain, and like, it's your most powerful weapon or your most powerful enemy. Like, what you choose to think, and you can choose to think certain ways. Like, and that's how it's going to be. So if you choose to think, oh, this is going to suck, guess what? It's going to suck.
Mm-hmm.
If you choose to think, oh, well, it might suck, or it could be good, or I'm sure I could learn something out of it, guess what? It won't be as bad as you think it is, and you might actually learn something. And then I always kind of looked at everything as like an adventure, and adventures aren't always fun, but it's still an adventure. It kind of goes down to going back to the basics in life, and like, what do you focus on? And I feel that a lot of people focus on what they don't have, what other people do have,
Mm-hmm.
instead of focusing on what they do have. And then I think back to like what we're guaranteed in life. And what are we guaranteed in life? Absolutely nothing. Like, you're born, and you're born with your skin. You don't get guaranteed a good mom or a good dad, or the color of your skin, or where you're born, or what state you're in, or whatever, how much money you were born with. You've no control over any of that, at least when you're born. And so literally from that moment on, it really is kind of up to you, the people you put around you, the things and the decisions you make. Um, and so also being able to have like this extraordinary life that I've led, and getting to peek into other people's lives, a lot of other people's lives, celebrities' lives, my friends' lives, my family's lives, soldiers' lives, I all come to realize that what's important in life. And it's not flashy stuff. It's not whatever, like my oven's the same temperature as Bradley Cooper's oven. Um, it's like, it's the people you put around you, and the memories you make, and the information you pass along. That's what matters. And so when you look deep, like, try to find happiness in what you have. Like, we don't need that much to be happy.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about like what's the key to happiness, and it sounds like you kind of hit on it. It's being happy with what you have, and making the most of it, and building authentic relationships, and living life. Not
That's
looking
what it is.
backwards, but looking forwards.
Absolutely.
Well, Bryan, thank you so much for sharing with us. What an amazing story, and I'm so excited to see what the next stages of life kind of hold for you. You're still
I'm
a young guy.
excited too. I think it's going to be a heck of a ride.
Yeah, I mean, heck, you've done this much in this short amount of time. You got a lot more in front of you.
I hope so.
Yeah, so cool.
I'm not stopping, bro. We'll see where life brings us.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much.
Hey, thank you guys so much for having me.
Hey, folks, if you like this episode and would like to stay connected with the podcast, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, as well as following us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And always remember, liberty and freedom are easily taken for granted. Don't take it for granted. Go out there and defend freedom. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to American Potential. You may listen to more stories from Americans working every day to expand freedom and opportunity in their communities by visiting AmericanPotential.com.